Hello students, welcome to online classes of Geography of class 12. This is my third class of your chapter number 6, Secondary Activities of the book of Fundamental of Human Geography. Now the topics that I have selected for today's class to complete the chapter are Ruhr coalfield of Germany, concept of high technology industry, Technopolis, iron and steel, its distribution and its categories or types of cotton textile industries and its distribution worldwide. Now in these topics your basic intelligence will be needed bit less, but the more is your that is keeping it in your mind, that is your memory is needed much more. That means you have to learn the facts by heart. Now let us proceed with the first topic, Ruhr coalfield of Germany. Now Ruhr coalfield of Germany, earlier it was one of the major industrial area. Now also it is one of the major industrial area, but earlier it was the traditional large scale industry. Now it is a modern high tech. So there is a transformation from the large scale to the modern high tech. I will explain the reason. Let me follow up with the points first. Now when it was a large scale traditional industry, at that time the basis for the economy was coal, iron, steel were the main basis for the economy. And but due to these are what? Coal and iron, these are exhaustible resources. So due to excessive extraction and its exhaustion has declined the demand for the coal, and not only because of exhaustion, it has created lots of pollution. So the demand for the coal declined, and when the demand for the coal declined, the industry shrank. Now Ruhr region was producing 80% of the steel production, but as it faced lots of problems related to industrial and waste pollution, so gradually the iron and steel industry related to the coal, gradually the industry declined or it shrank, and in place of that the new industry that has emerged as assembly of the car, that is the most prestigious Opel Astra car. It is over there. We are having the factory of the Opel Astra, that is its assemblage in this Ruhr coalfield areas, and then chemical industry, universities. So now this area has become completely a total different from the previous one, which was pollution oriented. Now it is comparatively environment friendly, that is industrial area. So it got its name, that is New Ruhr landscape. So what is New Ruhr landscape? It is a new industrial area that is there related to the transformation or shifting from traditional large scale to the modern high tech industry. So that is New Ruhr landscape, which is presently there in Germany. Now let us move to the next part, that is the next concept of industry, that is high tech industry. Now this is the latest manufacturing unit or the generation of the manufacturing unit, and here the application is of R&D unit, that is research and development unit. And when any sort of the work is done by the research and it's developed, so it is basically knowledge oriented. So the workers, those who are engaged, they are termed as white collar workers, and evenly the blue collar workers are also there, which are quite highly skilled. And here the robotics are used in assembly line. That means the entire work is done by the robots, and computer aided design is used. Now when everything is done with the help of the computers, so what is it? The pollution is not there, it is comparatively free from the pollution. Everything is controlled by electronics, and the industrial site is neatly spaced. It's not high-rise building, it's a low modern dispersed office lab buildings, and the regionally concentrated with a self-sustained highly specialized technopoles. Now technopoles means the areas where the high-tech industries developed or originated. Now the first technopole of the world was there developed in the California in San Francisco, that is Silicon Valley, San Francisco, and Silicon Forest near Seattle are the technopolis. So these are the basic features related to your high-tech industry. Now do you know the technopole of our country, the first technopole of our country, obviously you know, which is considered as the electronic capital of India, that is Bengaluru. Now what do you mean by the term technopole? Technopole means the high-tech industries which are regionally concentrated, self-sustained and highly specialized are called technopoles. And as I gave the example, Silicon Valley, you can see the structure of the technopoles. You can see the structure of the technopoles. These are not high-rise building. It is neatly spaced, and it is comparatively having a quite vast area, and it is not emitting out any sort of smoke like that of iron and steel industry or traditional industry. So this type of concentration of the industries is termed as technopoles. Now let us move to the traditional a type of traditional large scale industry, and the best example is iron and steel industry. Now iron and steel industry is considered as a basic industry. Now why it is considered as a basic industry? Because it gives supports to all other industry. It is the base for all other industry, and it provides raw material to all other. Now that is base for other industry means by providing the raw material. Its finished products acts as a raw material for the other industry. Now it is also called heavy industry. Why it is so? Because the raw material that is used is quite bulky, and the output that is there is also heavy material. So it is also termed as heavy industry. Now what are the raw materials that is being used? It is coal, limestone, coke, iron ore, manganese. These are the basic raw material that is basically used in the iron and steel industry. Now just see the processing of the iron ore. Now here we are having the coal, and this is the coke oven. In the coke oven, it is going to the blast furnace, where we are adding up limestone and iron ore. That is, to remove the slag we are adding limestone, and then we are putting the iron ore in the blast furnace. Now when we are putting it, we are getting the crude iron, that is the raw iron. Then with the help of the oxygen and the LD converter, that crude iron is first converted into the crude steel, and then with the help of that all the metallurgical processes, we are getting the finer slab of the steel. So this is the way how the steel is being produced from iron ore. Now we are having two types of iron and steel industry. One is mini steel industry, and another one is mini steel industry, and another one is integrated steel industry. We are having integrated steel industry. Now mini steel, first category is mini steel industry, and the second one is integrated steel industry. Now what is the basic difference between mini steel and integrated steel? Now mini steel is not, it is a basically it is a simple process unit. It's a simple one, and this is complex one. It's very complex one. Now mini steel industry, basically they use the scrap metals. They use the scrap metals, but here they use the molten iron or the pig iron, molten or pig iron. Now mini steel plants are basically there using, mini steel plants is basically there to use the electric furnace. they use the electric furnace. And what is the furnace that the integrated steel plant is using? Integrated steel plant uses blast furnace. So hopefully you got the basic difference between the two categories of iron and steel industry, that is one is mini steel plant and another one is integrated steel plant. Another one is integrated steel plant. So these are the two categories of the iron and steel industry. Now let us move to the distribution of the iron and steel industry. Now as it is the complex and capital intensive industry, so obviously it is basically found in the developed parts of the different continents. Now you have to learn some names of each and every continent. So the few names as per your convenience, you keep it in your mind, and in that order you prepare it for your exam too. Like North Appalachian region, Pittsburgh, Great Lake region, Chicago, Gary, Erie, Cleveland, Lorraine, Buffalo, Duluth, Atlantic region, Sparrows Point and Morrisville. These are there for the North America. Now let us see for the Europe. It is there for Europe, United Kingdom. We are having Birmingham and Sheffield. Then for Germany we are having Duisburg, Düsseldorf, Essen, Dortmund. Then France we are having Le Creuset, Saint Denis. Russia we are having Moscow, Petersburg. Asia we are having Nagasaki, Tokyo, Yokohama of Japan, Shanghai, Wuhan in China, Jamshedpur, Kulti, Bandpur, Rourkela, so many in India. So out of these you have to just keep it in your mind as per the country wise, few of them, the one as per your convenience. Now let us move to the next category of the industry. It is also a large scale traditional industry, that is cotton textile industry. Now there are three subsectors of the cotton textile. Number one, it is hand loom. Number two, it is power loom, and number three, it is mill loom. Now first, hand loom, when it is hand loom, that means it provides labor employment, means generation of employment, and here the workers are semi-skilled and the capital is small. Now spinning, weaving and finishing of fabrics are important functions. Basically the methods that are involved in cotton textile industries are: number one, ginning, then comes spinning, then comes weaving, knitting, then comes dyeing, and lastly tailoring. These are the processes that is there for the cotton textile industry. I am just proceeding with the processes that is involved in the cotton textile industry. Number one, it is ginning. Now what is ginning? What is ginning? Ginning is removing the waste from the cotton balls. Removing the waste from the cotton balls. Removing the waste from the cotton balls. It's ginning. Number two, spinning. Number two is spinning, that is making of yarns. Number three, it is weaving and knitting. Weaving and knitting. It is weaving and knitting. Number four, it is dyeing. Number five, it is tailoring. So we are getting so many processes that is involved in the cotton textile industry: ginning, spinning, weaving and knitting, dyeing, tailoring, and lastly packaging. So these are the processes that is being involved. Now next we will proceed to the next category, that is power loom. Now In the hand looms, most of the work used to be done by the manual laborers. Now power loom machines are there, but here also labors are there, but less labor intensive, and the volume of the production gradually increases. Volume of the production gradually increases. Now the third one is the mill looms, where it is mostly highly capital intensive, that produce a very huge bulk of cloth with a good quality, because everything is done with the help of machines. So the quantity is also more and quality is also more. Now the last part that is there is the distribution of cotton textile industry. Now the distribution of the cotton textile industry is that India, China, USA, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Egypt. Now in Egypt is basically producing half of the world cotton. It is the cotton is maximum grown in the Egypt, that is very long staple category of the cotton. United Kingdom, Northwest Europe, Japan produces textile by importing the raw cotton from other countries. Basically when colonial period was there, for the country that is for Britain, they used to get the cotton from our country. So their cotton textile industry, that is Manchester, hopefully you know the name Manchester, where the cotton textile industry is very much famous. They to develop the cotton textile industry of the Manchester, they used to get the raw material from our country during the colonial period. Now industries are facing some problems. Now what are those problems? Now it is facing some stiff competition with synthetic fiber. Now synthetic fiber is basically that is the cheapest compared to the cotton, and it is affordable by each and every society. That is why it is facing the competition. Next, now there is a declining trend due to technology, because cotton needs a quite fine technology which is not needed for the synthetic fiber in that respect. So that is why the declining trend due to technology, also the cotton industries is losing its importance, and nowadays it is shifted to the developing countries, from the developed nation to the developing countries. Why? Because the developed nations are now basically concentrating on the synthetic fibers, and their quality, their quantity is quite high. They are rich in the quality of the synthetic fibers. So now the developing countries, their cotton textile industries, they are facing a huge competition with this fiber which has been developed or which is being promoted by the developed nations. So these are the topics that I have discussed today. Now it will be your work to note down all these things in your copy in this order, and I have completed this chapter, that is chapter number 6. Next class will be related to your exercise question answer and the board question of CBSE board questions of the last 10 years. If you are having any doubts, just mention it in the comment section. And one more thing, from next class onwards, I will start the first unit of the practical. So it will be easy for you to just do the practical work. Hopefully you people got the material and you can follow the video as well as the PDF that will be uploaded. So just start with your practical work simultaneously along with the theory. Thank you for following the class. Have a nice day.